And I wanted us to go around, and if you also see in the chat, Nora Sullivan has put the Peace Institute's 7 principles of peace there. And so we're gonna just invite ourselves into the space by looking at those and naming the principle that really is calling you this morning. And I'm gonna look at these, and the principle that's really calling me this morning is hope. So I'm checking in with the word hope, and I wanted to invite Paula to check in, and I'll call on people just to make it easy one by one as I see them on the screen. So Paula, can you just check in with the word that calls you today, the principle that calls you?
Yes, I'm going to check in with courage this morning. Thank you, Mary Margaret.
And Barry, if you unmute yourself and just say the principle that's calling you.
I think hope.
Thank you.
Hope.
Hope. Thank you. Margaret Eklund.
Good morning. The principle calling me is faith, that openness and trust in something I cannot see.
Faith. Thank you. Cushing Geisy.
The principle that's calling to me is hope.
Hope. Thank you. Laura Maltby.
For me, it's unity.
Unity. Thank you. Beth Nagy.
Justice.
Justice. Thank you. Reverend Elizabeth.
Courage is calling me this morning.
Courage. Thank you. Annie.
Unity.
Unity. Chaplain Tina.
Good morning. Faith is calling me this morning.
Faith is calling you. Thank you. Vinny.
Morning. Courage
Morning.
is calling me this morning.
Courage. Thank you. Gladys.
Unity.
Unity. Thank you. Rachel.
Good morning, everybody. I am also feeling the unity this morning.
Thank you. Elizabeth.
Good morning. Also unity.
Thank you. Amanda.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Thank you. Kamal.
Good morning. I gotta lift up love, hope, and courage.
Love, hope, and courage. Thank you. Janice.
Good morning. I'm
Good morning.
lifting up love, unity, and forgiveness this morning.
Thank you. Love, unity, and forgiveness. Thank you. Anne Hazer.
Hi, I am going to go with unity this morning.
Thank you. And Becky Stevens, if you're with us.
I'm going to go with unity and courage. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. All right. Thank you, everyone. And if you have a moment, if you have not, you can just in the chat, if you want to add as you want what congregation you're from or where you're from or what institution that you're representing this morning. And I also did want to ask Nora, would you mind just checking in? Nora's helping with the tech this morning, so she's multitasking, but I would love to hear your what principle is calling you, Nora.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nora from the Unitarian Universalist Urban Ministry, and I'm going to check in with love. And I'll also make a note that unfortunately we have the chat setting to only message the hosts this morning. So thank you for sending me your locations. Unfortunately, that's just coming to me. So I will share that with everyone after the event so we can know where folks are coming from.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So Nora, do you want to just do a little housekeeping for us this morning as we get started?
Yeah, thanks, Mary Margaret. So thank you all so much for being here today. I wanted to just make a few notes about the event today. You may have noticed that the event is being recorded. So please, if you're uncomfortable being recorded, you're welcome to turn off your video. but we do want to have a recording of today's event for anyone who wasn't able to make it. So that'll be sent to you after today's event. Also, as I mentioned, the chat is set to only send to the hosts. So if you have any questions during the event, you can message myself or either Elizabeth or Paula, who are on the development team at the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute. And you are welcome to send any questions that you have on any subject. If we aren't able to answer it today, we'll send the answers via email after the event. And then finally, I just want to invite you all, if you're able to stay with us from 9 to 9:30, we're going to just have an open Zoom. And so after our scheduled events, we'll just be here to chat with one another, have a little bit of unstructured time, which is so rare these days. And any questions that you have about the Mother's Day Walk, members of the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute will be available to answer your questions. I also wanted to mention that this is the 4th year that we have hosted this event at the UU Urban Ministry in partnership with the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute. This is the first time we've done it on Zoom. So thank you all for being with us and for figuring out this Zoom world alongside all of us. So I'll hand it back to Mary Margaret for a second.
Okay. All right, so this morning we wanted to give folks an opportunity to just get to know each other here, to start that way. Even in Zoom world, it's good to connect with people. And so we're going to break you out right away into small chat rooms. And we want to invite you to answer and talk about the reason that you walk in the Peace Institute's Mother's Day Walk for Peace. Either what called you the first time to walk or what's calling you now if you have not walked in the past. And we're going to spend about 4 or 5 minutes just really talking about what calls us to this work and this connection. And then to try to maybe remember what group you were in, if it's 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5. I'm not sure how many groups there are, just so that you can respond for your group maybe.
I can't see everyone. Nora, just let me know when everybody is back in. Are we all in?
I think we're all back now.
Excellent. Welcome, 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 everybody. Oh my goodness, this is our 4th year gathering together, 1st year virtually. Thank you again to the UU Urban Ministry for your commitment, for your partnership to this journey. And thank all of you really for just being here and for being committed. So my role was to do this, talk. I'm not gonna talk. Here's what we're gonna do. You all broke in. How many groups do we have? 4 breakout groups? 5? Oh, wow. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Since we had 5 breakout groups, you all talk. I know we had a great conversation and hours as to why we walk, but I wanna bring it. I want all of us to hear from each other why we walk. So you are ready? Because this is participatory. Again, you're not gonna hear me do this. It's participatory. So I'm gonna call on groups randomly. No, I'm not gonna go in order. I bet you thought I was gonna go number 1, right? No, I'm not. So group number 3, just unmute yourself if you want one person to speak to you, but we're gonna take about a minute or so as to why do you walk and how long have you been walking? So who's group number 3? All right, so Vinny, Laura, unmute yourself, group number 3. Okay, Amanda, all right, so let's open it up. Laura, Amanda, Vinny, just let's have a quick conversation. Why do you walk? And Reverend Elizabeth.
I was inspired to walk for the first time by Reverend Tricia Brennan, who was the interim minister at Fallen Church in Lexington, who went from walking by herself to chartering a bus and bringing a whole busload of folks down. I now am a member of First Parish Dorchester, which is in the neighborhood, and it feels that much more important to me to be walking. This will be probably my 7th or 8th year.
Thank you. As you're feeling called, Vinny, Amanda, let the Spirit move you.
This is my first year. I just got to the urban ministry 2 weeks ago, and lucky enough to come to the urban ministry before this event. Super, like I mentioned in our room, I'm so super impressed with the Peace Institute, the mission of the Peace Institute. It's something I'm passionate about as well. So I'm very lucky to not only be at the urban ministry, but to have gotten here in time to participate in the 25th anniversary walk. So.
Annie?
I was drawn into it by a friend who's here, Ann Hauser, and I found it an amazing experience. And last year we all walked from various parts around town and met at the front of the church for a brief moment. And I'm hoping that more and more people in our church will come to join us.
Thank you, Mary Margaret.
I was not in a group, but I'm happy to tell you that why I was drawn to walk, because I was invited by a small group from the urban ministry and was enchanted by the magic of that day.
Thank you. Okay, group 4. Margaret?
Yep, I'll start.
Amanda, I'm sorry, were you in group 3?
No, I was
Nice.
just fiddling with
Is
my
it
hair.
Reverend Elizabeth? Were you group 3?
I was.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Thank you.
I have not walked yet. I'm excited for my first walk. I just started in August as the minister at First Parish in Dorchester. So we're getting our group together and I'm really excited to be part of it.
Oh, wow. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Okay, Margaret?
Okay, so it's also my first year of walking, and I was inspired by one of our ministers who always referred to the UU Urban Ministry and our church as our church. It wasn't that church, it was our church. And I've always wanted to get my feet on the ground. And yeah, the work that the Peace Institute is amazing, and I'm really looking forward to being a part of it.
Okay, group 3 again. That's 4. Gladys, are you 4? Barry?
4.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I want to put a plug in for Belmont Against Racism, because we do a lot of things in Belmont more as a town than actually as a congregation. And so Belmont Against Racism has been marching for many years. I've joined them several times. And now we're hoping to get more involvement from the First Church. It's just such a unique organization. People, they're really helping the forgotten people. And I think that's just so incredibly important.
Thank you, Gladys. Barry?
Hi, I'm from Temple Beth Zion in Brookline, and this will be our 3rd season, I guess, not really walking. And what's exciting is every year it seems the excitement is growing, and I'm really looking forward when we can actually do it in person, because my one experience, even in the rain, was very inspiring. And we've been doing a lot of racial justice work, but even before this particular organization, it particularly resonates with me. I live in JP, and a lot of my neighbors participate, and I just think it's one of the few things that bring people together in Boston that is truly diverse, and I hope we can do it in person sometime.
Thank you. Nancy, were you in group 4?
I'm not sure. I just tuned in. I was thinking we started at 8:30, so I'm sorry I missed the first half hour.
That's okay. It'll be recorded and you'll get it. So let's do group 5. Group 5?
I was in group 5 with Amanda and Beth.
Becky.
And
Becky, yeah.
Okay, Janice, I'm leaving you for last. Don't.
Right, they can go, right.
Becky?
I got involved because of a friend. I had never heard of the Peace Institute, and I was so inspired by the first walk and some of the conversations that I had on that walk. This will be my 4th or 5th year, and I'm trying to get working with a team at my church, which is First Parish UU in Needham. That's where I'm from.
Thank you. Who else was on your team, Janice?
So I was. So I'm Amanda, she, her pronouns, King's Chapel in Boston. And I started walking in, I think 2015, because I started going to King's Chapel in like December of 2014. And if there was something that a church I had just joined was doing to work towards a more just world, I was going to be there. I don't remember if it rained, but most of my memories of the walk, it's raining. And the dedication to show up and to be part of the community, part of healing and forgiveness and learning healing and forgiveness for ourselves and our community was maybe what drew me. And this year in particular, I walked to support my roommate whose brother died by homicide this past fall.
Thank you. Anyone else in group 5? Okay, group 2. Okay, my group. And Cushion, go right ahead.
So I got involved with the walk through doing gun violence prevention advocacy. And I think that this year will be my 6th or 7th, I think 6th walk, including the virtual last year. But so I've walked with different groups, but my church, which is in Newburyport, has had a little group that's done the walk the last couple of years. 2 years ago in person. So we trucked down from Newburyport. It was raining and it was wonderful. And last year, Annie described the virtual walk, we walked, but it was individually and met in person. So this year we're trying to engage more of the church and potentially even beyond the church to the community to be with us doing the walk.
Thank you, Anne. Cushing?
This is also my first walk, and like Vinny, I've gotten in touch with the UU Urban Ministry to become more active in their work. And I had also, on not knowing about this particular effort, decided that I wanted to become more active in supporting the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute. And so it's sort of a twofer for me to be here.
Thank you. Anyone else in group 2? No. Group 2, Rachel, do you want to share? Where are you?
I'm here. I came to the Peace Institute as an intern my last year of college at Framingham State 15 years ago. I was a baby then, and it was like the first thing I ever worked on for the Peace Institute. And to walk beside so many other survivors, I didn't even really understand that I was a survivor of a homicide victim at the time. But to be in community and really receive that support and give that support and walk alongside people, well, I just clearly never left. So here I am, and here I will continue to be.
Thank you. Last but not least, group 1, where are you? Come on. Come on.
Yeah, that would be me and Beth.
We chatted. But my first walk, it was just a community walk. I had moved to Dorchester a few years ago, and it was what was happening, and I wanted to be a part of it, and it was amazing. And it was like 2002, and it was amazing. And I've done it many years since, and it's very important. It's very important to me.
Thanks, Beth. Kamal?
So the reason why I walk, I walk for the Peace Institute. Not only as someone who works there, but also because I believe in the Peace Institute. I believe in the vision, to create and sustain an environment where all families can live in peace and all people are valued. That's something that I truly believe in. And, by the grace of God, I've never lost anyone like extremely close to me to homicide, like, no family, nothing like that. but I have lost people, you know, who I consider friends, people who I've grown up with. I'm from Dorchester. I grew up in Dorchester. So many, you know, many a funeral I have, you know, attended of people that I know and love. So, yeah, that's why I walk. I just truly believe in the vision. I believe in the mission. I believe in, you know, everything that the Peace Institute stands for, all the families that we serve, all the, you know, policy that we're changing, like everything wholeheartedly. I just believe in the Peace Institute. That's why I walk.
Thanks, Kamal. Thank you. So our time is wrapping up because I'm going to turn it back over to Nora and then because our literally time is wrapping up. But before we close this out, I want to just turn it over to Janice. So Janice and Kamal, we are a part of the Peace Institute Mother's Day Walk for Peace presentation team. So some of you have already invited us. Who did the fireside chat? Belmont Against Racism, right? So some of you have invited us, others will be invited us. So I wanted you to meet our presentation team. I know a lot of you guys want me to come. I can't do this by myself. So Kamal is one of those. The other team are not on. So I just want Janice to say why she walks.
Thank you, Tina. And good morning, everyone, again. And I walk for my whole entire journey of 15 years. I was introduced to the Peace Institute in 2006, unfortunately, when my brother Eric was killed. So the best thing about that is my cousin, and I shared this earlier with Group 5, she went to the Peace Institute when they were on Dorchester Ave and got buttons made without telling us. And she got the date wrong. It was a day earlier because my brother passed away at 3 a.m. So instead of April 18th, she put April 17th on the button. So I had the opportunity to go back to the Peace Institute to change the date. And that's when I met Tina and Milton and my journey began. So 3 weeks later, it was the Mother's Day Walk for Peace. My mother was still unable to get up. I heard Tina told me about the Peace Walk and the 7 principles of peace, and it was pouring down rain and cold. I remember I had one of those clear umbrellas that went down like that, and I'm freezing cold by myself. And I walked alongside other mothers and loved ones like myself. A few years later, I walked and I built this team called Team Pink, Boston Pink, because a lot of times I was walking alone. So I built this team of just other survivors and captains who were walking alone, and we got together to be in solidarity with each other, because I wanted survivors to feel that they weren't alone, that even if they didn't have a team or family members who walked, they still can walk together. So I built Team Boston Pink. So there's so many like different reasons here. As you know, I say it's almost like my walk toolkit of emotions and love and unity for all these different reasons why I walk. And now I'm walking like for my granddaughter. And just to kind of close that out, one year I was dragging my granddaughter through the rain. She's 16 now. She was 1 when all this started. I have a picture of me and my sister and her in the baby carriage. We were pushing her through the walk, right? One year she just didn't want to walk. I think she was like 9 years old. And I'm like, okay, you don't want to walk? How about if you build your own team? She said, oh, I can build my own team. So she got some girls from her dance class and some girls from the Mather School. It was maybe 7, 8 of them, and they walked and they held hands and they're walking through the walk and they're happy. And, so there's so many different reasons why I walk. And now working for the Peace Institute, March 13th is my 4th year anniversary. Working for the Peace Institute, I walk for all of you, all of the Peace Institute, and all of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Thank all of you. So I want to just close it out because again, I can talk. It's not about me talking. This walk is a success because of each of you. If none of you participated, then we would be missing an arm of this. So that's the important part. We will always be here. We will always walk. Even if nobody shows up, we will always walk. Because this walk no longer belongs to us. This walk now belongs to the community. So give yourself a round of applause. Congratulations. You make this walk a success. Before I turn it back over to Nora, I just want to give you a list of rundown of the places that have invited us. So on the 23rd, we're at Belmont Fireside Chat. Today, we're at Urban Ministry. On the 10th, we'll be at Up Academy in South Boston, 314. We'll be back again. And Kamal will be the one that you will hear more from on the 14th. 321, I think we're in South Acton, UU, I think. 44, we're in Temple Zion. 411, First Parish, UU. 418, First Parish, Milton. And 52, UU Sharon. So that's the invitation that we've had. So I want to thank you so much, and I'm going to turn it over to Nora. Yay!
Thank you, Chaplain Tina. And thank you all. I want to share that this is also my first year with the walk, and it's been such a pleasure to get to work on this event with the team from the Lucy Brown Peace Institute, my new good buddies. I just really appreciate so much hearing from all of you about why you walk, because now I know more about why I will be walking. And so my part today is just to share with you all a bit more about the logistical information that I know you're all eager to know more about. I'm going to just cover the tip of the iceberg. And as I mentioned before, any specific questions you have that I don't cover, please feel free to type them in the chat to either Elizabeth or Paula from the development team at the Peace Institute. And then also we'll be here for 30 minutes after at 9 to 9:30. So the last third of the event will be a time for you to ask questions to the team from the Peace Institute. So I'm just gonna go really quickly through sort of the basics of this year's event. And you probably know a lot of this already. But as has been mentioned, the fundraising efforts from the Interfaith Committee are a huge part of this event. So you're all doing a really, really huge part of the fundraising effort of the Mother's Day Walk. This year, as you know, the event will be on Sunday, May 9th at 9 a.m. And that'll be a virtual walk. And you can read more about that at the Mother's Day Walk for Peace website, which we'll share a link with you later. And as you may or may not have heard, this year the Peace Institute is doing something really cool called 25 Days of Walking. So that's starting on April 4th. It'll be a large mix of different activities, from mindfulness activities to physical activities. There'll be fundraising tips, and it'll be a way for folks to come together in the type of community that usually happens on the day of the walk. But spread out over 25 days so you don't get zoomed out. Now, a few other details, and just to let you know, I'm going to send all of this via email after the event. So get ready for a packed full email with all the information you could ever need. That email is going to include a toolkit for the walk. So all the information that you might need about building a team, how to fundraise more specifically, the team registration form. It'll also have the sign-up form. So if you're interested in bringing the Peace Institute to your community, be that your congregation or a different community, you can fill out that sign-up form and have someone come and speak with you. We'll also share some FAQs on how to talk about the issue of homicide in your community so that you're empowered to have these conversations yourself and bring the issue to your community yourself. There will also be an interfaith statement of support that you can share with your community and read for yourself. And then another piece of what I'll share with you is the event recording and answers to any questions that may have come up today that you may or may not have had answered live today. Please also feel free to email myself, the development team at the Peace Institute at any point with your questions, and we'll share all of our contact information after the event today. So just so you know, you always have resources, you always have a place to go to get your questions answered regarding the walk and regarding the rest of the year, because this is not just a one-time thing for us to be supporting the Listy Brown Peace Institute. So I'm gonna stop there and hand the mic to Mary Margaret, but just please, any questions you have, go ahead and send them via chat to Elizabeth and Paula.
Thank you, Nora. And thank you, Chaplain Tina and the whole team from the Luce D. Brown Peace Institute. And thank you for all the friends from member congregations of the UU Urban Ministry. So I wanted to talk a bit about the part of the walk that is about raising money and raising money for the Peace Institute. I wanted to underscore what Nora said about fundraising. And I wanted us to start to think about fundraising and what that work means in our communities and our congregations. So I I encountered the Peace Institute soon after I came to the urban ministry, which is now about 6.5 years ago. And the first spring I walked in the first walk, and I was amazed at the energy and the spirit of that day, and so proud to see some Unitarian Universalist congregational banners in that sea of purple. And so I was excited to understand more about what this effort was about. And so probably in my first year, I made an appointment to come see Tina. And I don't know if she remembers this because I'm sure she meets a zillion people, but I made an appointment with a colleague to come over, and we sort of rushed over, and I wanted to hear how could the urban ministry intersect with the work of the Peace Institute. And you know, it's kind of always a rush to get through Boston. So we got there and I was ready to start brainstorming, and she came in and she said, talk to me, just as we did this morning, about the principle that speaks to you. And it was just this moment to sort of breathe and be and reflect. And so we did that together. And I knew, and I have seen that level of authentic engagement and centeredness all these years since in the work of the Peace Institute. And so I knew that I witnessed, even in that moment, the power and the transformational power and the commitment to peace that I saw and felt there that has really stayed through all my encounters with the Peace Institute. And so the urban ministry started to really try to think about how we could do more to partner and be connected with this work. And so when the Peace Institute added a stop on the Mother's Day Walk for Peace at Madison Park High School, which is right across the street from us, we started opening our doors in the morning with coffee and bagels to encourage more Unitarian Universalists to participate. And then we started to convene this in real life. We started to have dinners, and we were inviting people from congregations that could be leaders and organizers for this effort. And that's the people who are here today, people who can make a difference in your own congregations. And my colleague, the Reverend Margie King-Saffier, who's here, some of you heard her a video about feeling when she's at the Peace Institute, she's on holy ground. And one of the things that I believe related to that is that the invitation to support work in the community is a sacred call. And we are honored when an organization in the community invites us to support that work. And the support that we give is energy and spirit, but also has to be fundraising, because that's the lifeblood of the support for the Institute. The Institute, in order to work for peace, in order to work for healing, it needs financial resources. And that's an opportunity that we are given to really raise money in our congregations to support this work. So I really want us to think about tying our passion for walking with the commitment to raise funds in our congregation, that to direct the resources of our congregations to this work is really a sacred invitation. So my invitation to you is to be really bold this year in this strange and upended time when we can't all be together physically. I want us to be bold in raising money and really ambitious in the goals that we set for ourselves to raise money for the Peace Institute. It's a way that we hear about the Peace Institute's principles. When we think about our Unitarian Universalist principles of standing for the goal of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and we think about equity and compassion in human relations, our principles, a way we can put those principles to action is in raising money for the Peace Institute. It's action. It's really an embodied way of living out our values on behalf of the Peace Institute's principles. So I really want to thank everybody for being here this morning, for your commitment to these values that we share, and for going back to your congregations and really being leaders and being bold in raising money for the Peace Institute. I'm really grateful to see you. I know many of you here, and I'm just so grateful for your showing up so early in the morning and being willing to be part of this. So thank you. And I think I'm going to invite you, Chaplain Tina, would you like to say any closing words before we kind of invite last thoughts?
Yes, I just again thank you for this, and thank you for your commitment. If we were picture ourselves at the end of the walk, if we were together, and what I've gotten from many of you at the end of the walk, you're coming to me and you're so excited and you're saying to me, Tina, we can do more. We can do more. We can raise more money. We've got the capacity to do that. I can't tell you how to do it. I really know you can. I really do. And you know you can. So that's the invitation. We've got four pillars that keeps us standing firm. The survivors community, the healthcare, our hospitals and our health centers, our donors, our sponsors, and then our faith community. The faith community is one of the strongest arms of this organization. I was baptized Methodist. I practiced Catholicism all my life. That's all I know. I enjoy a good Baptist revival. I found joy at Temple Abodah in Newton about 20 years ago when I was invited, understanding the meaning of joy. My first sermon was in St. John's, the U.S. Virgin Islands, at a Unitarian Universalist. So it's that interconnectedness. The message that God gave me, your riches will come from my house. Again, I'm Catholic, I'm Baptist. I enjoy a good revival. All I know is Catholicism, Hail Mary, full of grace. Yet, it is the multi-faith community. God says, I didn't tell you my house is one religion. My house is you and me. Whoever you can connect spiritually with, that's who we're walking together. So you as the interfaith community, and we do have an interfaith committee for the Peace Institute. I'm not sure if anyone is on here from the interfaith committee. That's our arm. That's our strong arm. I think we are probably the only nonprofit, non-faith religion that has an interfaith committee. It is because that's what has me here 27 years later. My personal and intimate relationship with my God. I'm not talking about religion. I'm talking about relationship. So what I bring forth is my faith belief. And I think that's what, I know that's what that relationship, our principles and your faith believe. That's what connects us together. So we know many times you want to know, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you raising money? It's to transform society's response to homicide, to focus on the assets of our community, and to teach the value of peace. So those are my last words, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Chaplain Tina. So our last invitation to you is if you would feel so moved, and we're going to make sure that we can chat. All of us can chat. But if you want to put just anything in the chat that you take with you, and again, we're going to keep this open if people want to stay for another half hour for more Q&A, more conversation. But if there's something you want to say in the chat about something that you liked about this morning, that inspires you, that fires you up, that you're leaving with, that you're going to take with you, just a comment about this morning's gathering and the walk, and thinking about what's ahead that you would like to put on the chat as a way to kind of check out. We would love that. And we have enabled the chat, so you're, I think, talking to everyone.
And just to jump in quickly, Mary Margaret, I know many of you probably need to hop off to get to work at 9 a.m. But if you have any lingering questions, like I said, the recording will go out after the event, so you can watch that last 30 minutes if you're not able to stay. And please feel free to send any questions that you have to us via chat before you go. And we can send you a response after the event. And also, you can always reach out after the event with questions as well. Thank you all so much.
Nice to see everybody. Nice to see you all. Nice to see so many familiar faces.
And I think I would add to Mary Margaret's invitation to share what's exciting you. If this is a time when folks want to start asking questions,
yes.
You can do that as well. And I also want to invite you, if there's anybody here who you're really excited to see and you want to talk to about your plans for the event. I know sometimes congregations have worked together on putting teams together. So if there's anyone you want to go into a breakout room, please let me know, and I will put folks into breakout rooms together.
Thank you, Barry, that you're fired up to up your goal. Awesome. You're wondering, so Anne, I wonder if the development team can answer Anne's question. You're wondering when the weekly suggestions will be available.
So they will be available starting the 4th of April. So every Sunday going down all the way until the Mother's Day walk. So the 4th, the 11th, 18th, 25th, and then May 2nd, you're going to get a weekly summary of your suggested team or individual days of walking. And then you'll have access to it for as long as you want. And there's going to be 5 suggestions in a week. So you can do it throughout those 7 days. You can do it, the next week. There's really no specific timeline or commitment. Again, it's just suggestions. It's just supposed to be fun, engaging. So they'll start coming the 4th.
Can I ask a follow-up to that? Only because we're trying to engage like our young church and everything that we do that engages different groups within the church needs to be shared prior so that they can plan for it. Is there any way that we can get an idea of what they might be? Or no?
Sure. So we can actually talk about that as an internal team. That's a really interesting suggestion. And yeah, I'll bring it to them and we can see what we can do for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The other thing that we're going to be doing this year is for our team captains, we're going to be holding Zoom calls, and we're going to be sending out tips on fundraising. So we're looking for you to provide team captains, if you're interested, we'll be sending out a letter, and we'd love to hear your ideas of what you want to share and what's worked for you. So we're going to join together a community before the walk.
Can you give us some examples of what the weekly suggestions will be? Just some examples so I could take that back.
Sure, yeah. So we have 5 categories. So fundraising will be one of the categories to give you some ideas on how to up your fundraising. There's mindfulness, so there's mindfulness activities, physical activities, so getting together socially distanced with your team and taking a 30-minute walk, things like that along those lines. And there are some, oh, Becky?
Well, along with that, I was talking with another place of worship in our town about possibly joining forces and sponsoring some hikes or something like that would be local to bring the 2 teams together. And then we were talking about how to incorporate fundraising directly into that. If people want to participate in a yoga session or something that we would set up to, like, could they contribute to a Venmo or something like that? Or are you seeing it mostly as something that people would just give to a final destination and participate in the walk as a team? We were just throwing around ideas and we weren't sure how to think about it.
Yeah, so that can be a both and. There are people who do contribute to a Venmo, and then one person will contribute to a specific team, or they can all give online and you can give them the Mother's Day Walk for Peace website. Let me think on some ideas for that, and we can get back to you all and email you, because that's a really interesting suggestion, but I don't have things on the top of my head at the moment.
I think, Becky, what you could do also is, again, if you have your team, I would invite you to maybe connect your teams. Like in Cohasset, what they have done, Connie, who's the chair of the Interfaith Committee, the different congregations in Cohasset, instead of just the name of her church, what they have done is combine, and it's called Compassionate Cohasset. So they come as one, as a small town, they come together and they walk under that banner. The UUs, the Catholics, the Unitarians, and the First Congregational Church of Cohasset, which is Connie's church. And so collectively they'll do kind of the offering. If a UU in Cohasset is doing something, so collectively, then it will all go into the team's fundraising page, or they will give the funds to Connie and it'll go in there, or whoever's doing the event will collect it and it will go in there. I think using Venmo and those other platforms, then there's a fee to that. So whatever you're collecting, there's an additional fee, but it's different formats in doing that. So it's either a bucket that you have goodwill offering, or it's either sending a check or a donation. So there are many different forms of doing it, but creating a collective community. Also, I think Belmont said also, instead of the churches, Belmont Against Racism. And also, oh my goodness, I'm not going to remember, Watertown. Watertown Walks for Peace. The church doesn't, but what Watertown has done is the same thing. The church takes a lead and then pulls together Watertown Walks for Peace.
Gotcha. Great. That's really helpful. Thank you.
And there are some questions in the chat that I'll answer. So we got one about our decorative hearts that have the principles of peace on them, and being able to get a PDF of them. We can definitely get that to you in the follow-up email. And then there's also a question about a 2-minute video or so about the Peace Institute. So the toolkit that Nora was talking about, that'll describe the walk, at the very end of that, there are links to videos, and one of them or 2 of them are about the Peace Institute and the walk. So you'll have access to all of them. And again, you'll get that in the follow-up email.
And I just saw a question about the hashtags. That's included in the toolkit that we're sending you. So thanks, Amanda, for asking that question. Yeah, the toolkit, and please reach out to us if you have any questions after you get the toolkit, and we're happy to help. Becky, we can also work with you and the groups that you're working with to find the best way to raise the money. We're happy to help you with that because those are really great ideas to join together.
Great, thank you. That'd be really helpful because we're just kind of tossing ideas around right now.
Yes.
And this 25-day thing, it's a good idea generator. It's a good idea because it's leading us to think in different ways. So that's good.
Yes.
Right, and I think also the invitation is the invitation is if you have your ideas to add to the 25 days, I think that's also the invitation. You know, these days are there, but we know people can be creative. So I think, you know, and I'm sure the staff will agree, while we're inviting you to do this, it's not about you have to do this. It's an invitation. And if you have ideas, then those are the things to be able to share also.
Great, thank you.
And may I add, as a survivor, and in those 25 days, as Tina said, being creative as a survivor, I took the skills and creative things I was doing in the community, and I made it into a fundraiser for the Peace Institute. For instance, I did fashion shows. So I put together a fashion show and I raised the money, like $1,000, and I donated it to the Peace Institute. And sorry, I may be breaking up. My internet is not that good in where I'm at. And also now what I'm doing, I have a dog line, and I'm making 25-year anniversary celebration dolls for all you want to purchase for, you know, a fundraiser to donate to the walk. And you'll hear a little bit more about that a little later. She's gonna be in our swag shop. So those are also ways, you know, taking your skills that you may have. If you sew, if you paint, you know, maybe, you know, selling some things on a Sunday, or maybe bake, I don't know. So that's kind of the things that I did to kind of support the walk as well. So I just wanted to share that.
What one of the UU Church have done with the young people, and this one we were going in, we have gone, and I think Reverend Jolie Olivetti had done that, where we're going in and we work with the children to create steps for peace. So what one of the church did is that they created footsteps with the principles of peace, and then they asked people to kind of select a principle and kind of donate, kind of make a donation to that principle and their names. You know how I think cancer and all of those others, the pedal will have them in the supermarket where you buy a pedal and you add your name, you make a donation. So that, and I cannot remember, this was just so long ago, but they created feet. And I think we have like the shoes of peace or something like that. And then they're just asking, they will have it throughout the month. And then people will just, again, a $5 and my name is added, or your loved one's name is added to that. The other part also is see who in your community, see who has been impacted by violence. You know we just got a referral for Belmont, and it was connected to our survivors outreach coordinator. So see who in your community is impacted, or see whose page you can look and see who's from your community, and even also adopt a survivor's page and make that connection. So there's so many incredible and amazing ways of other people that have raised funds. And it's also, you do it. So hear me, you do it for breast cancer, you do it for domestic violence, you do it for World AIDS Day, you do it. You raise money collectively already. We're just inviting you to use your creativity. Because again, when you look like me, money doesn't come easy. So we're asking you to really do what you do. Do what you do. Be creative with that collective piece. We can give you ideas. We can give you ideas and we will continue to give you ideas. But I think for us, the idea is do what you do and let people know that we are worthy and you're raising money. And it's not about convincing them and making them feel good but it is through you that people will give, not because they like us or they know us, but because you are the ambassadors. You are saying we are worthy of. So the team has done a great work in putting this toolkit. We have given you videos. We have given you everything. Now it's time for you to just don't think. Because when you think, you try to perfect it. Let your heart guide you. And when your heart guides you, my God, you can't miss it. So that's just my invitation, because if I had thought about this walk 25 years ago, oh, heck no, I would not be doing this because it's too much work. So that's the invitation. Many times we want to think and we want to get it perfect and we want to make sure and we're going to do this and it all has to be perfect. That's too much work. This is the time where I want to invite you, let your heart lead. Because at the end of the walk, you're all going to come back and says, Tina, oh, we could have done so much better, because it happens every single year. So I think what I would invite you guys to do also with development team, we can get a list of your congregation, how much you raised last year, and then how to increase that. Because now you have toolkits, now you have a lot of more information with some great guided activities. But what I would say, if you're thinking about it, you're working too hard. Let your heart. This is the time for us to let our heart lead us into this. Because again, when you look like me, the funds do not come easy. We have to work even harder, and then we have to prove even harder why we need to raise 600,000. To us, that's a lot. To some people, that's a drop in the bucket. So that's what the invitation. Becky?
Directly related to that, I've gotten the question, can you talk about you've jumped from 400,000 goal to 600,000 goal. Can you talk more about what your aspirations are so that we can explain that to people when they're saying, wow, that's a big jump. What are they doing now that they, help me.
It's a big jump. What are we doing now? Because we've been trying to raise $400,000 since God knows when. We raised the money because my mother died. That's the only reason we raised $400,000, if we want to be honest, because my mother died. And people wanted to help, and that's why we raised $400,000. So $600,000, again, when you look like me, everybody wants to know what I'm going to do with the money. If I was white, it wouldn't be that question. We still need to do the work. COVID is happening. People of color are still disproportionately impacted. People are still being killed. Gun violence is still happening. People are committing suicide. People are dying due to overdose. People are dying due to COVID. We are the ones that are responding to them. We don't fit into the traditional funding source. So why did it jump? Because we are worthy. Why did it jump? Because the work is even more important and where people are losing funding. Why did it jump? Because it has to jump. Because it has to jump. And again, if I was a white-led organization, the question would not come. It really wouldn't come. And here's what we get at the end privately, Tina. You can $600,000. That's a drop in the bucket. And so what happens then, it makes it look like we are not doing. Look at my development. They're white. They're white. So it's not about guns and gangs and give a Black child a job. It's about transforming society's response to homicide. Right now, what they're saying due to COVID, violence is on the rise across the country. People are being killed. Our lives really don't matter. So what's another Black person dying? What's another non-white person dying? So what we have done, we are now assisting families to bury their loved ones. Cemeteries do not wait for their money. So Rachel, I don't know if you're there or did you leave? So I think we gave out we paid out over 100,000 just this year alone in burial plots. Not everybody has life insurance. What we're also doing because of COVID, people have lost their job. So we have paid out over $100,000 in assisting people financially to pay their bills, to pay their utilities, to pay their car notes, to buy food. So we don't get funding through that. So again, survivors of homicide victims, if we're not talking about gun control or death penalty, nobody wants to hear the work that we're doing because everything is happening internally. Our lives have been just destroyed. So we have to be the ones to make sure people understand that we are here as survivors of homicide victims. So those are the things, if you want, we can share with you our data, our stats in terms of, again, the funds are for discretionary funds where we are able to. We're just working with a survivors group in Springfield. As survivors of homicide victims, we are asked, we are told to do, we are brought to the table, we're telling our story, and then we walk away and nobody understands. So we're doing a training to the survivors in Springfield so that they can also be treated with dignity and compassion. Our tools, these are our publications. All families receive. This is the I Am book. This is a program that we do at Plymouth County Correctional Facilities. Right now, we haven't gone in, but it's a program that's called Peace from Within. You're locked up. You're not going anywhere. But while you're locked up, we want you to do some peace from within. This is a publication. It's an I Am book of poem with the men at Plymouth County Correctional Facilities. They are authors. They are published authors. So we want to be able to make sure that they all have this at no cost to them. Always in My Heart's workbook. This is Workbook for Grieving Children. We want to make sure that all families who have children that come through our door, that the children get an Always in My Heart's activities workbook. The Survivors Burial and Resource Guide is a step-by-step workbook. Again, when we're working with a family to make sure that they have the tools that they need to regain a sense of control. The next phase of our work is we're doing some training with our district attorney's office and preparing families to go through the court proceedings. So there are lots of work that survivors deal with that we don't get funding because we don't fit in the traditional funding source. So this Mother's Day Walk for Peace fundraising is a discretionary fund that we are able to continue to serve and to transform the way society responds to families impacted by murder. So families don't have to pay for the services because we're doing this across the state of Massachusetts. So that's a question. Thank you for asking that. What I would invite you guys to do also, you have a lot of information. Our team is here. We want to give you the words and the confidence to speak what we speak. And if people are still pushing, then you're doing too much work. Because if I was white, I wouldn't have to convince people why we jump. We jump because people like you told us, Tina, $400,000, that's nothing. That's why we jumped. So we I'm being bold right now. After 25 years, I am really being bold and actually
Be bold.
1,000. I am being bold. Yeah. So our board is kind of, oh my God, Tina, what if we don't raise the money? Okay, if we don't, then we don't. But I'm no longer stepping back and saying, well, I don't think, people, we're not gonna, no, I'm being bold right now. So, because the world needs us.
And I want us to be bold behind you, right? I think, that it is, I think in the work at the urban ministry, the thing that is maybe most meaningful is moments like this when we have an opportunity to listen and to learn and to get behind, not in front of, but get behind the work that is being led by the community. So thank you for all of that, Chaplain Tina. It is moving and inspiring, and it is a call to us to get behind what you're doing and how you want to do it.
Yeah. And I think, Becky, it's an amazing question. Thank you for that, because that's the question I'm asked when I'm either going to do a sermon or going to speak. You want to know, well, why so much? Well, what are you doing? And well, how do I tell my people? How do I convince them? If you have to convince, that's what I says. If I have to convince, I'm working too hard. I want to bring you my heart. I want to bring you what I'm called to do. This is my purpose here on earth. If my child was alive, we wouldn't know each other, because I would not care about anything that was happening in the community, because, it's those people over there. That's what society tells me. So I bring my heart. And again, like you guys, we're now in it together. It's like, do you know that commercial, the Roach Motel? You check in, but you never check out. That's what happens when you come to the Peace Institute, right? Yeah, it's funny. So that's what happens when you come to the Peace Institute. You're a part of our family. We're a part of your family. There's going to be some odd conversations, some odd feelings, but that's why we do. That's why, again, the piecing it. Rachel, help me. Where are you? Piecing it what is it? Piecing it together.
Got it.
Thank you. That's one of the tools that we have for our white partners. That's it right there. Inviting you to go back to that, what worked in there, but we can't make it feel comfortable for people not to understand why we need to raise $600,000. I've got a staff of 21 people. They're real people with real bills, and this helps us to really make sure we invest in human capital so that we can continue to transform society's response to homicide. So let's continue the invitation, the work. My team is there. The UU Urban Ministry is there. Many of you are doing amazing, great work in the social justice, racial justice, all of the justice thing, but then there are 6 other principles: love, unity, faith, hope, courage, and forgiveness. So we forgive those who don't quite understand what we do, and then we move on and embrace those who do. And eventually, those others will come on, because you're no longer trying to convince them, but by our actions, then they will come in. So I think this is a great opportunity. Again, UU Urban Ministry, thank you for convening this, and we're here. This is it. If we don't make this in 25 years, then we're going to pack up. We're still going to do the work. But
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chaplain Tina. Thank you so much, everybody who's here. I know that the team, the Louis D. Brown Peace Institute team, will continue to be answering your questions. You also have our email addresses if we can help continue to connect you with this work. It is something that this convening, obviously we persevere and have it, whether it's for dinner, for breakfast in real life, or by Zoom, but we will continue to convene our UU friends to get behind this work and to be part of it, and to keep helping to gather the resources in these communities to direct them in the way that they're wanted in the community that we're happy to be a part of. So thank you for being here, for listening, for bringing your hearts, for bringing your ideas. And please take back to that back to your congregations and really be, as Tina said today, be bold and ambitious in raising money. We can really do this. We can really do this together. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Be in touch.
everyone. Thanks so much. I'm going to invite Paula to share just very quickly one final thought about fundraising to leave you all with.
So people were asking about how to get the youth and the teens involved. And one of the ideas that I'll share with you that is in the 25 days of walking, please don't tell anybody because we haven't released it yet, but it's a coupon book so that families can work with their kids or the youth group directors. And maybe it's a coupon that if we raise $2,500, the youth will lead a service. Maybe it's a coupon that the kids will clean their room, like to give to their parents. Like, I will clean my room if we can raise $25. And coupon books, you can find templates online. We'll be providing them in the 25 days of walking. But the kids, we're all in COVID right now. They're looking for activities. They can get creative. They can get offline. They can use tools around the house. And the youth directors can do this as a virtual program. So the kids can be inventive and maybe they can say, I will read a book, whatever it is, but it's a way to have the younger and older adults, right? Everybody can get involved. So we hope that you will continue to ask us questions. We're excited to be here for you and looking forward to walking 25 years. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you, Chaplain Tina, for motivating us, and to everyone for being here and committing yourselves and sharing with us all. Chaplain Tina, I'd love to ask if you have any last words for us. Okay.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Thank you all so
Be well,
much.
everybody.
Thank
Stay
you.
well.
Have a great day.